And the mind and its development is ultimately how the human being evolves. And with the mind comes the mindset, the way you have been brought up, the way you have been, your experiences have molded your mind. People think that in a society, numbers and power are the most important things in terms of controlling the society or governing the society. But that also depends on the context. You can have a goat, you can have 1,000 goats at one place, and one lion comes before them. The numbers are with the goats, because they are 1,000 in number. But they are so, their mindset is so filled with fear that one lion can make them run for their life. Of course, one of them would lose its life as lunch for the lion. So numbers obviously by itself is not enough for a human being. Similarly, you can have, in terms of power or strength, without the mindset. You can see in a circus 5 strong, well-fed lions in the cage, and one thin, wiry ringmaster enter that cage, and after closing the door, he begins to order these lions, totally at the mercy of the lions. But because of the mind or the mindset, he's able to force these lions to obey him, to climb on a bench, open their mouth while he puts his head in it, and not bite it off. Because the mindset of a lion in a circus is prepared with, it's a cub, and it is made to believe that its only job is to obey. So human beings are also like that. It depends on how you are brought up, how your mind is made up, how your mindset is developed. And you can see situations where the absurdities of numbers and the absurdity of power is evident. India was ruled for almost 100 years directly by Britain, with just 10,000 soldiers from Britain. And the vast crores of Indians obeyed them and followed them and worked according to their diktats. So today, I think if I were to simplify what I saw today in this temple and its museum, it is this, that how is the mind to be developed? What are the dimensions of the mind which we need to address ourselves? Most people think that all that they have to do to develop intelligence or the mind is to develop cognitive intelligence, which means going to school, college, universities, research institutes, and learn about physics, mathematics, chemistry, biotechnology, etc. And that is the way to develop yourself in your mind. But unfortunately, that's not sufficient. Without the other components of intelligence. Now, if I were to draw from whatever one learns from a simplified presentation to me of the Upanishads and the Brahmanas, I would say that intelligence is just, cognitive intelligence is just one dimension of the human mind. For a person to be really evolved mentally, he has to develop other dimensions of his intelligence. Another dimension of intelligence is called emotional intelligence. In the Western world, they have just pinched our ancient saints and gurus and the commentaries that have been written, and now have reintroduced it in modern language as emotional intelligence, which means the ability to present your point of view in such a way that the person who is receiving that message, he feels constrained to comply. And that is a tremendous capability in a human being, but it is also by itself a very dangerous development of the mind. Hitler was a great expert on emotional intelligence. He made the Germans believe and do things which were horrible by modern civilization standards. But he knew how to present it. He knew how to organize the logic of it. So another aspect of your intelligence which we have to develop to become a fuller person is called emotional intelligence. Then there is the intelligence which is called moral intelligence, another dimension, where you do not carry out acts which harms somebody else in the process of achieving your goal. That kind of intelligence is to see that you don't cheat people, you don't betray people, you don't engage in plagiarism, you don't tell lies, you don't mislead, con people. This is called moral intelligence, because intelligence is a powerful weapon, and therefore the concept of morality has to be built into your intelligence. That these are things I will not do for my own advancement, for my own progress. Then there is another dimension called social intelligence. And social intelligence is when you do actions which don't hurt the society. I might be a good entrepreneur, and I know a fast way to make profit is to build a factory, and that factory pumps a lot of smoke into the atmosphere, and as a consequence, it hurts the health of that society. I make a profit, I make a lot of profit, but the society itself loses heavily. So there again we have to develop for modern civilization what we call as the moral intelligence, the social intelligence. Not to do anything for your own advancement at the cost of society. Not to, for instance, nationalism is a part of that value, that you don't hurt the nation in the pursuit of your private interests. So this is another dimension of intelligence we need to develop. At the moment, the universities are not teaching these various dimensions. In terms of studying, in terms of advanced research, it is now established. And this is an old concept in our Vedic tradition, that all knowledge is in the Brahman, which in English we call as the cosmos. And there, if you are able to master your mind through meditation, to connect your mind to that Brahman, then there is nothing that's in this world that you cannot discover, you cannot invent. That's why meditation is such a very powerful tool to improve your mind. But ultimately, in modern English, if your mind has a neural Wi-Fi that can connect to the cosmos, then you can be an Einstein, or you can be a Newton, or you can be a Bhaskaracharya, or Aryabhatta, or C.V. Raman, or something like that. That people are geniuses only because they're not born with a superior mind, but they are born with a mind which, by concentration, is able to connect to the Brahman. And that is another form of intelligence, which is called as spiritual intelligence. In addition to this, there is something called innovational intelligence, where you know that in economics it is taught that economic growth does not take place because you have more capital and more labor. Economic development throughout history has taken place because we introduced new innovations and which uses new ways of combining capital and labor. Mere more capital, more labor would only lead to diminishing returns as you go on. So you have to have new ways of doing things, and only then the capital and labor will give you a higher product, higher level of product than before. For example, before the locomotives came, people went by horse carts, and in India bullock carts. But once the locomotive came, it created a new concept of market, and therefore it gave a huge boost to economic development. Same way in the Industrial Revolution, besides the locomotive, the Bessemer steel plant, blast furnace, that gave a new product called steel, which brought about the possibility of all kinds of unimaginable structures, skyscrapers, and so on. So this innovation intelligence has been going on over the last 2 centuries in a rapid pace. The Americans then took over. They brought in jet engines, telefilters, later on fax machines, and now internet. And we are progressing now. Artificial intelligence is one of the new innovations that are coming. So this innovation intelligence is always, instead of going along the curve, you jump curves and reach higher levels for the same input. And that is another form of intelligence where you don't look in beaten paths of just getting a job, getting your annual increment in your pay, and retiring, and then having a house and settling down. That kind of life is not an innovational life. Innovation is when you see a problem before your country, and you find a way to solve that and overcome that. When the Israelis were faced with lack of water, because their sand had no rivers, that the land that they got had no rivers, they invented desalination of seawater to create drinking water out of the ocean. And that has now been used by all the other countries which are hostile to Israel, but they do need water too. And now places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, you see a lot of greenery because they get water from desalination seawater. So this way, the process of finding new ways of doing things, that's also a level of intelligence which has to be developed. And ultimately, the earth has to survive, so you have to have what we call as the environmental intelligence. So these 7 dimensions of intelligence is something which, if you go back to our old texts, how the Gurukul system was organized, these were part of the education. Not in the kind of language that I'm using, but certainly in terms of motivating the students. So that's why the Indians produced so many brilliant discoveries. Bhaskaracharya was able to invent calculus, Aryabhatta, astronomy. Indians never thought the world was flat, ever. Right from the beginning, they viewed the globe as like a ball. And but this is not true of Europe, where even when somebody discovered the truth that the earth is round and the sun does not go around the earth, it's the earth which goes around the sun. Galileo, he was actually beaten and put in a jail, and ultimately he had to recant and say my theory is wrong, when in fact he was right. But because the Indian mind was developed in this way, and that is why many things which we, even today we are not able to believe. A lot of fun is made of the fact that Lord Rama returned from Sri Lanka by Pushpak Viman, as if we knew about flying planes then. When now we have discovered an ancient document which is still not fully translated, called Vimana Shastra. And when I was able to see a copy of it, a photocopy of it, I just was curious about one thing because I didn't want to get into the technical details which I don't know. But I wanted to know only one thing. What is the fuel that was suggested in that monograph? And I found that the fuel suggested was mercury. And I asked an aeronautical engineer, can mercury ever be an airline fuel? He said not today, but certainly another 50, 80 years it's possible, because one drop of mercury has more energy than 10 barrels of oil. So you see this more and more as we probe into our past, that because of the way the mind was developed, we had practically solved any problem that came before us. And we are now rediscovering it. And many things are now being ascribed to our past, which at an earlier stage of our history, after 1947, people used to make fun of. Yoga is an example. Ayurveda is another example. Pranayama is yet another example. These are all things which came because the training given was of a complex, multi-dimensional intelligence framework, and not this present solely focused cognitive intelligence development. I think when I saw today the cinema, the movie that was displayed was a magnificent presentation of the complexity of our concept of the world and concept of ourselves, I began to feel that I would not be able to understand that unless I had myself these various dimensions of intelligence. And that is why in our society, when we structured it, the jnana was put at the top. And in order to attain that jnana, you have to have tyag. And so jnana and tyag, and those who are willing to pursue jnana and are willing to make the necessary tyag for it, they were considered the highest in our society. And there we venerated people who looked where they were in complete poverty. Mahatma Gandhi is an example whom we venerated. But in the Western world, Mahatma Gandhi was a fun figure. Winston Churchill called him a naked fakir. But for us, he was a symbol of sacrifice. And his thinking was accepted because of his sacrifice. So this past, our past, the way we view the world has to be, these last 1,000 years of foreign invasions and brutality and so on, and the brainwashing that was carried out by the British, we have forgotten all these ways to develop the mind, and our education system is totally in terms of only the cognitive intelligence development, and we have to now reform our education system to keep it with this, to build a new Indian who will be then in a position to regain the position we had in the world before as being the most developed country in the world. Thank you very much.